Welcome back to our celebration. In this video, we're going to focus on three cell parts that all sort of go together: the rough endoplasmic reticulum, the ribosomes, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. Here is an electron micrograph of these parts. You'll notice that here is the nucleus, and that the smooth and the rough endoplasmic reticulum are a series of interconnected tubes that are all flowing in here. So both the smooth and the rough there. If we break it down into separate ones, you can see the structure that really makes them stand apart from each other. The rough look rough. They have all these little dots on them. You can see this in the diagram here as well. And the smooth are smooth. And they are named as they are due to the presence or the absence of something called a ribosome. So we're going to start with the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum, the main thing that characterizes it is that it lacks ribosomes and therefore looks smooth underneath a microscope. Its function is lipid synthesis. So the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which just like the rough endoplasmic reticulum, is sort of an extension of the nuclear envelope. This part, the smooth endoplasmic reticulum, its main job is to make lipids. Why lipids? Why do we care about lipids? Two main reasons that you should know about. One, lipids are a huge component of the cell membrane. You learned about phospholipids, the phospholipid bilayer. There are glycolipids, cholesterol, other components of the cell membrane that have a lipid base. Something you may have heard of but didn't know the name, something called a sebaceous gland. This is something in your skin that secretes an oil or a waxy substance that keeps your skin from drying out. And sebaceous gland cells actually have a very, very high number of smooth endoplasmic reticulum, which is why they're able to make so many lipids. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is named as such because it has ribosomes attached. And as you can see in this micrograph here, all these little blue dots, those are the ribosomes. The function of the rough endoplasmic reticulum, because it has ribosomes, is protein synthesis, or the production of proteins. And as you learned a few weeks ago, proteins serve a lot of functions in the human body and in organisms in general. So we're going to look at their structure next. Ribosomes, they're found on the rough ER. That's what the RER stands for. They are also found freely floating in the cytoplasm. And they are found in all cells on Earth. So human cells, bacterial cells, plant cells. Every cell on Earth has ribosomes because every cell on Earth has to produce proteins. So the function of the ribosome is to read the coded instructions from the DNA and to convert that into protein. And to convert those instructions into protein. As you learned before, because the DNA can't leave the nucleus, the DNA is first converted into something, or read or coded into something called RNA. And in this diagram, this round sort of bulbous two-parted thing is your ribosome. So this thing here is the ribosome. And then this blue strand is the RNA. And it sort of threads through the ribosome. The ribosome reads that RNA, which is a copy of the DNA. And since the DNA is the code for how the cell is going to build things, that RNA is what tells the ribosome how to put amino acids in a particular order in order to make a given protein. So if you sort of think about this in motion, this RNA is going to thread through the ribosome. So the ribosome is reading it, and as it reads the RNA, it says, okay, this part of the RNA says, make this amino acid, or put this amino acid here, and then connect it to this amino acid, and then connect it to this amino acid, and then you get this chain forming. As you guys learned, this chain is known as a polypeptide. It's also a protein, a chain of amino acids. The amino acids are the monomers. So that's the job of the ribosome. And the ribosomes, the reason they're found in every cell on Earth is because cells are essentially protein-making factories. It's incredibly important that you can make proteins. Why? Why do we want to make proteins? Well, Jeff needs to look like this. He needs to have muscle. Your muscle, the fibers in your muscle, that's protein. Protein. The tendons, or the connective tissue that anchor your muscle to your bone, that's protein. Cool little fact, the most abundant protein in the human body is something called collagen. Collagen is what makes up all of your connective tissue, tendons, ligaments, the stuff that holds your organs. So there's a really, really important use for proteins. Another one that you've all heard about, enzymes. Enzymes are proteins. In this diagram, we're looking at an enzyme that is taking a substrate and breaking it apart. All enzymes on Earth are proteins, and enzymes catalyze chemical reactions. So any chemical reactions that is going to happen in the cell is going to require an enzyme to be there. Another example, really important for doing activity every day, red blood cells. Red blood cells churn out about trillions of these hemoglobin molecules per second, trillions per second. Hemoglobin is what allows the RBC, or the red blood cell, to carry oxygen. So that's another example of a protein. In terms of like a long list of categories, proteins fall into all of these: structure, transport, defense, movement, chemical reactions, and communication. Love your proteins.